is Oshodi, one of the areas in Lagos State. Hello there and a warm welcome to this week's edition of Super Eye on Super Screen. I am Adenike Owoye Ajiboye. Of course, I must tell you that it feels really good anytime we come here to see your faces. And on today's program, we want to look at drug abuse in Nigeria and addiction on the part of youths. And this, for me, is a source of worry. And not just for me, I'm sure it is also a source of concern to many Nigerians, especially social and political analysts, also those who are at the helm of affairs. So today on the program, ladies and gentlemen, I have my guests to talk about this. So we'll look at the cause, the effect, and the solution to drug abuse in Nigeria. However, before we move on to discussion, I would like us to take a listen to this particular report on tackling drug abuse and addiction in Nigeria, after which we will be right back to discuss this very topic. Research conducted by the National Bureau of Statistics in 2012 shows that 37% of Nigerian youth population are engaged in drug abuse. But more than 6 years after that report, the use of non-conventional substances has increased exponentially, a development that threatens the social fabric of the society. Worried by these growing rates of drug abuse and addiction among Nigerian youth, Martin Onovo and Bola Oba urged the federal government to embark on a sensitization program.
Leadership, according to WWA, accounts for 85% of the problems in any society. And I agree with that, if not a higher number. So if you get the leadership right, the leadership will not only promote the right precepts, the leadership will show the right example. Because the youths are impressionable, we have told them that it is not right to steal, but they have seen us reward and promote thieves. So they have this confusion which they have to deal with, and when it overwhelms them, drugs become what they may see, incorrectly though, as a safe haven, where to run to, where to get high, in order not to be completely destroyed by the intractable problems. But the drugs themselves are a problem. So we need, first, advocacy. Second, we need good example. Third, we're going to need some form of enforcement. We're going to need some form of enforcement to improve the situation.
Productivity will naturally fall as a result of the fact that a preponderant majority of the productive demography, is wasting away. When somebody is suffering from drug abuse, the person can no longer keep focus. The person can no longer be attentive to details. The person can no longer be enamored with skills related issues and skills empowerment.
It has also been estimated that more than 500,000 bottles of codeine, tramadol, rohypnol, marijuana, and other opioids are consumed by young Nigerians on a daily basis across the country. This alarming trend is steadily destroying families and creating an army of zombies. Victoria Ehomo condemns this as she highlights the dangers it poses on Nigeria's growth and development.
Nigeria was not a user nation of drugs, even with all the bad names, or even with all the negatives we had. 419, advance fee fraud, and all the negatives that we had. Instead, it was a courier nation. So because of our loose customs and immigrations and all of that, people will get these drugs from other places and then they will take them out of through Nigeria, knowing that it will be easier to go through Nigeria. That's what it used to be before. There might have been a few that were using it, but it was not a user nation. But unfortunately, times have changed. I would say part of it unemployment. People finish university, no job. Then even in the university, this cultism, they have cults that they belong to, and to belong to the cult, they have to take some drugs, which is a very big problem for our country. So going forward with the number of youths that are taking drugs, I mean, it is bad, because I know, like Colombia, countries like Colombia and all those bad countries known for taking those drugs. You can imagine us now adding that reputation again to already the bad ones that we have. Going forward, it's going to be very bad for this country, because it will also increase crime in the country.
The Director General of International Institute of Professional Security, Tony Ofoyeta, also lends his voice to the menace.
There has been an extension of the construction of hard drugs, which is predominantly and exclusive of a country like Nigeria. You talk about inhaling sewage, for example. You talk about codeine, for example. Even I had some even go to the extent of gutter. Extremely irritating thing you can extrators, extremely irritating things you cannot even imagine. I had if Ministry of Health banned or impounded on codeines that were brought into the country. And I laughed. Why I laughed is because when you want to attend to a problem, you don't attend to it from the surface, you attend to it from the root. Because at the end of the day, what you have done is that you have made codeine like cocaine. It's going to still get to their hand, but at a higher cost.
For this maritime specialist, he shares a different view, blaming some government officials for the growing rate.
They are just fighting drug skeletally. They are not fighting the use of hard drugs holistically. Except otherwise, when they start fighting the use of drug by anyone that are found guilty using hard drug, no matter how you are placed, you will be prosecuted and jailed. That is when you will see drug being there. Go to Thailand and see what they're doing now. That is why when the government of certain states of the countries of the world said our own is death sentence, why is Nigeria now campaigning against let the drug barons, let the drug users not be inculcated in the law as a death sentence? Because I believe that if you set out a law, you want to achieve what we call 100% goal. You are just not setting law because you just want to set a law. This country is working for them. So Nigerians knows if you go to certain country, China and so on, and get you in drugs, is sentenced death.
While there is a clarion call on government to nip this menace in the bud, you will recall that the federal government on April 31, 2018 banned the importation and production of codeine in the country. It remains to be seen how the federal government will take into cognizance some of the advices given by these specialists. Well, that is the report done there on how to tackle drug abuse in Nigeria. Well, you're still watching Super Eye on Super Screen. Right about now, I want to open up the discussion. And I have with me my discussants for today. From the extreme left, I have Mrs. Victoria Godwin AJ. Mrs. Victoria Godwin AJ is an educationist, and many thanks for coming on Super Eye.
Thank you so much.
All right, by my side here is Dr. Akiwole Adeosho. He is an occupational therapist. You're welcome to Super Eye. All right, you have seen in that report analysts talking about what they think is the cause of drug abuse and what have you. Let me start with you, madam. What is your description of hard drugs?
Oh, when we say drug abuse of drugs, is an excessive use of a dosage of drugs. Naturally, there is an accurate amount of it that should be taken, but when it becomes excessive, it becomes an abuse. It becomes something that will be detrimental to the user. So, an excessive use of a particular drugs. That is what it is.
Okay, on the hard drug then, where do we classify hard drugs?
Hard drugs is it's classified as when we talk about hard drugs, it's classified as drugs too.
Okay, which are example? Your codeine?
Like for instance, codeine. We have the nicotine. We have weed.
Marijuana.
Marijuana. We have the like things like tramadols and cocaine and others.
All right, beautiful. Then let me ask you, sir, why do you think that, well, I'll say that there is no gainsaying that there is a staggering rise in drug abuse and addicts on the part of Nigerian youths. Why do you think a greater number of Nigerian youths are addicts?
Thank you very much. We have a multifaceted problem in our hands. And in the preview you showed us, you see people clamoring for advocacy. So their advocacy is there on part of governments. As a family unit, we've reneged our responsibilities under the guise of the society moving cosmopolitan. And everybody's, the crave for money is the slogan of the day.
The crave for money
is the slogan of the day. So parents have failed in their own responsibility in being able to bring up their words in the appropriate ways. And then because we've gone cosmopolitan, then technology has exposed them to the wild field of information unlike before. So they can go on the internet, find out about these drugs. And then mostly these are drugs that are not prescribed, that are just bought off the counter. There's no restriction. So that's where the government's policies needs to be in place. There should be a restriction. You don't just get to the pharmacy and get any drug and then move on and consume. So you discover that the latter ones that we're consuming now, or the kids are consuming now, they are mostly unprescribed drugs. These are drugs that have pharmacological purpose, made for a particular purpose, but then people have gone ahead, buy them, and use them for other reasons which are detrimental to their health generally. So the pressure is, like as one of the earlier speakers has shown, there's a lot of economic pressure. People go to school, there's no job waiting. Parents, they are not sure if the job is secure. Everybody's running helter-skelter, and government has failed in its ability to be able to stem the economy of the country. So, and then people will always look for a way out, no matter how high the pressure is. So for the younger ones, the vacuum created by unemployment and inability to run after their dreams and achieve it is what has lured them into substance abuse.
Okay, beautiful. Madam, let me go to you now. He said the crave for money and that the parents have also failed in their responsibility, as well as government is responsible for the spread. Do you also share the same view?
Yes, I share the same view. Because naturally, the parents have neglected their responsibility. They feel their responsibility is to the teachers. They've negated it and given it to the teachers to take care of it. And naturally, it is impossible to handle a child if you don't begin with the parents. Every good child begins with what the parents has, invested in the child. So most parents have neglected their children because of money. They crave for money, want to make more money, but not knowing that, with short understanding that in future it will still come back to them, because these children, the youth, are the future leaders. They are the future of the nation. If you negate them, if you neglect them now, it's to their detriment. So parents are actually not doing what they should do, and the government too. You find a lot of youths unemployed on the streets of Lagos. Youth are hyperactive. Give them what to do. If you don't give them what to do, they start looking for what to do, and that's why most of them are taken into drugs and other things, or we are taken into rape, doing so many things. So the government and the parents have neglected the youth and not giving them what will make them better citizens of our country.
All right, if my senses are not failing me, what I deduce from what you're saying now is that a good child is a product of a good parent.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay, beautiful. What about parents that are, they're good in everything, manners and what have you, and they still end up having a child that lacks attitude, manners and what have you? So I'm just trying to say that you need to bring it down to where it is more understandable. Are you saying that parents have been unable to create enough time for their children?
Yes, most parents have been able to create enough time for their children. And you find out that if you don't have time for your children, other people will have time for them, like peer group. They will be educated by their peers on how to do these things that they don't normally do. So if the parents have more time, spend more time with their children, find out what they do daily, find out what their problems are, because most of these things are as a result of maybe pressure, depression, a problem a child cannot solve. But if you have time for them, talk to their mind. It is generally said that when you get the heart of a child, you've gotten the child itself. Talk to the heart of the child, and as you keep doing this daily, you will win the child. If you get the heart of the child, you'll win the child. But most parents do really not have time. So, but we as parents should be able to invest a lot of time on the children by speaking to their mind, educating them. And sometimes, most times when parents want to educate, they don't tell them the real thing. Give them the way it is. Tell them what this is and the negative effect of drug abuse. And when you do, when the children know that this is this, it's this bad, and this is the effect, and it's detrimental to
the right choice.
Yes, they will now make the right choice.
All right, beautiful. I come to you, sir. They say that an idle mind is a devil's workshop, and part of what you analyze is the fact that governments got it wrong in not being able to create enough jobs to get the youths engaged, and because they are active, they need to channel their energy somewhere, well, which is into drug abuse. How do you think governments can begin to correct this anomaly?
All right, like I said earlier, we have a multifaceted problem in our hands. So nobody can really excuse himself from a portion of the blame. Governments, like I said earlier, governments should do the proper advocacy, create jobs. Because if you have the right policies in place, one, you can stem the influx of drugs into the country.
Okay.
If the regulations are there, medications have to be prescribed before you buy them off the counter. Then if the job is there, you see a lot of undergraduates get engaged in this problem. And you see all their parents will offer is take them to a rehab home, send them back to school, and you see them going from one private school to the other, and it's an endless chain in the country. So until all of us concertedly resolve that, okay, we have a big problem in our hands, see it in the right perspective that it exists, then we are not going to move any further than where we are. Like I said, government really has a lot to do. Government is the only one that is in position to advocate laws. Like people, psychiatrists for a long time, for decades now, have been clamoring that we should have a mental health stroke substance abuse bill. And up till now, they're still doing it, and it hasn't seen the light of the day. And then now everybody that's members of the rehabilitation team are concerned about this plight. And then in few days time, you'll see this slogan all over the electronic media clamoring that we should have a mental health and substance abuse.
A mental what?
Mental health and substance abuse bill.
Okay.
So that once it comes into place, you discover that, one, these kids, they have a lot of freedom. They go to schools, you can follow them to schools. Like she rightly said, there's peer pressure, people are exposing them to information every day. But then when they fall into all these pitfalls, where do they seek help from? It's not there. And you quite agree with me that rehabilitation is a long journey and quite expensive. So often the time, parents don't have the energy to run this place to the end. But when this bill is in place, when the advocacy is in place, and regulation is in place in dispensing of drugs, then we'll discover that we are stemming this problem. And then all this will become a thing of the past. And then like I rightly said earlier that we all have a role to play. The kids don't have role model they look up to now.
Okay.
They have the wrong set of people they admire.
Exactly.
It's the wrong, the people that have money are the ones that are successful in the society.
That they always look out forward to. So gone are the days that you're aspiring to become this person who is successful in his chosen forte. All those ones are gone. So these are features of the fact that you and I and every other person out there have failed in one way or the other. So except we now come back realistically this time, that we credence the fact that this problem is there. Government does their role. The government emanated from you and I. We are part of the society before they go to position of authority. So yeah, so if they go back there and they do the desired, and you and I to contribute our little bit, you discover that we turn the tides around. All right, beautiful. I'll go to you. Based on what Doctor just said now, about, because I'm wondering and pondering, how did we get here? Would it be right for me to say that civilization also play a very vital role in contributing to this increasing rate?
Yes, it does. Because naturally, if you look at it, it's because there's civilization. That's why you notice that the youths are doing more things they shouldn't do. The things they shouldn't get involved with, those are the things they are getting themselves involved in. They are doing so many things because of civilization that's everywhere. The youth are getting to do the things they shouldn't do, and they are getting involved, engaging themselves in a relationship they shouldn't get themselves engaging. And apart from that, if you find out, so like he said, rightly said, he said not just you find out that even in Facebook, WhatsApp, it's trending now.
So social media, from what you're saying now, it means that social media has also contributed to this challenge.
Yes, please.
Okay, can you expatiate on this?
It has, because if you find out that most of our youth now are tilting to entertainment, both the music and the performing art, and most of these people that sing and are performing, they are into drug abuse too, and they don't just abuse these drugs. They bring it to the social media, bring it to the Facebook, they bring it to YouTube, they do it on the television, and when you have future of the nation watching this thing, what do you expect? So it's everywhere.
All right, on that note, Doctor, I want us to look at, because the purpose of this program actually is to correct the ills in our society. And this has become imperative for us to look at let's look at what this portends for us as a nation, so that government will begin to see the importance of having to meet this menace and the bound.
I must be honest with you, we're in a serious problem, deeper than a lot of us are envisaging. For the few ones that are lucky to be 50, 40 plus now, you are looking forward to retirement and then have a peaceful life. And then these kids did not drop from the sky. They are our children, right?
Yeah.
And then when we get older, I pray we will not all be crying. They will fail in their ability to man the mantle of leadership of the country, because a lot of them, if they are not well trained, naturally they will fail when they come to office. And then it's sad that in the political terrain, some of them are even being used by the politicians to achieve their objective. So in their own parlance, substance abuse is becoming a norm. So that's the bigger picture. It's becoming a norm. They don't see anything wrong with it. They don't see anything wrong with it. They believe, okay, they should get stimulated. And then for us to see the depth of what we are in, I think was it last year or this year? Secondary school leaving students raping themselves in daylight at school.
Yes, it wasn't.
These are not norms.
They are anomalies.
And they are young kids, people leaving secondary school. So what will happen to them by the time they get into the university?
Only good news.
Are they going to fit into the so-called expectations that we parents have of them? The answer is no. And then by the time we all retire from this service, they are going to fit into all these establishments, position of responsibilities. And then since they've already had this carriage along with them, it's going to get deeper and deeper. So now, the best we can do for ourselves as a nation, government has to seriously present the fact that we have a big problem in our hands. And this is the right time for them to put the right laws in place, appropriate laws. The professionals have been clamoring for the desired. They've been educating those in power about what is expected of them. So this is time for them to put a listening here. Invite people who are in this terrain, professionals in this field, to tell them what they are supposed to do. Because often the time when you tell people somebody is abusing drug, if you don't work in psychiatric hospital environments, if you're not into rehabilitation, you don't have a vivid picture of what you are talking about.
Honestly.
It's just like, okay, one of those problems that is far away. But now,
it's closer than...
It has come home. It has come home. So we are all seeing it. And this is the appropriate time. Government should put the laws in place. Like I said earlier, there is a bill that people are clamoring for, professionals are clamoring for, mental health and substance abuse bill. They should allow it to see the light of the day. So that when people commence rehabilitation, there's enough money, there's ability to get the best of services.
Right.
Because sometimes people miss their flights. And when they miss their flight in life, there has to be corrective means.
Exactly.
Or bring them back. So government really has to see this in the perspective
and
that
buy into the corrective measure.
They exist. Then when you leave that, you and I as parents, we have to wake up from our slumber.
All right, then I come to you, madam. You know, they say where there is a will, there is a way.
A way,
right?
yes, yes.
Do you really think the government, because from the reports which were showed now, from the report which we showed now, we heard some of those analysts saying that even some government officials are into these drug abuse. Do you really think there is a will on the part of government to actually control or stop drug abuse and addiction?
I would say there's no will, because if you listen to one of the speakers who spoke, he said what government are doing, they are fighting drugs, but they are not fighting the use of drugs. And like he said, if it could be these bills, and one of the speakers said something, he said if there are rules and if there are consequences, if anyone is caught being using the drugs, then people will know that if I do this, this is the consequences of what I've done. So the government are actually not doing what they should do. They should go back to the root. These children don't even know what they are doing. They are ignorant of what they are doing. They should be educated. Let them know what they are doing. Let them know the side effects. Train them. Train the teachers. Like you rightly said, most people that talk about it don't even know anything about it. But if you have an understanding, the children have a deeper understanding, the children will retrain. You find out that they will retrain other people and they'll better help themselves. The government are really not doing what they should do. Recently, I found out that NDLEA, they were able to, they persecuted two illegal laboratories that are producing drugs. Why should we have laboratories producing drugs in Nigeria? This is absurd.
Right, thank you. Like what she said, it is often said that when the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. So from what she said, obviously some of our youths who are engaged in drug abuse and addiction, it shows that they do not know what they are doing. And it is high time that they began to know this. However, for the benefit of my viewers, the phone lines are now open. You can make your contribution for us to know how best you think we can tackle this problem. All right, I'll come back to you now, Doctor. Let's look at the health implication of a drug abuse.
Let me take you back to where we started from. Formerly, when we were younger, we hear people abusing cocaine, heroin, and those were expensive drugs. They were expensive drugs, and they were meant for people that have funds to play with. And then those who traffic drugs, it's not meant for, paupers don't traffic drugs.
Exactly.
It's the rich people that traffic drugs.
Yes,
so those were the things that we were hearing about. But now you could see we've gone so low that people now start, okay, fine, we can afford cocaine. Then let's start abusing supposed to be prescribed drugs. Abuse codeine, tramadol, abuser, Evo stick, is endless.
Honestly.
So it's like that. So now, if we are deteriorating to this level, it's a pointer to the fact that we don't have firm grips.
You don't have what?
We don't have a firm grip of what we are getting ourselves involved in. Until it's sad that we keep saying government because all of us are part of government, but really for them, they are the one that could legislate laws that will cover these excesses. But then what does the drug do to them, right? Let's take simple alcohol as an example, which all of us are conversant with.
Exactly.
Now, when people abuse alcohol, what do you see? The cognitive ability is affected. That is the ability to reason.
Right.
To reason right. Judgment is affected. Perception is affected.
Exactly.
So the same thing is what is happening to all these kids. And that is the superficial aspect of the problem. Then the long-term use, you see that the system will keep shutting down gradually, because it's not the day that you die that you are dead.
That's true.
It's a
gradual process.
It's been there. And then, mind you, they get hooked on this drug. There's addiction. So they keep looking for means to get money, to get back on that trip of the drug. So health-wise, they're going down. Economically, they are not contributing anything. Their pursuit in life, they've lost the goal.
Exactly.
They've lost the goal. So drug has become something of primary importance to them. And then activities that they usually enjoy, like going to school, you discover that it's no longer of utmost importance to them because of the drug they're engaging. And this is the vicious chain that they've got themselves involved in. And you see some that the parents are even striving to help. They get hooked on the drug and they take them to a rehabilitation home. And then within weeks, they are back. And then it's interesting to know that in their own parties, the parties they throw now, they distribute drugs to themselves. Yeah, in their own parties. The normal parties they throw.
Really?
Yeah. They will tell you.
As a takeaway.
No, that you can experiment with it. It's available. The drug is available in their so-called parties. We have deteriorated to that level. That's why I said all of us cannot exonerate ourselves. Nobody could exonerate himself because when you see them, they come to rehab. The rehabilitation therapist, the psychiatrist try to detoxify them, crash the load of the drug, and you say, okay, fine, they are fit to go back to the society. But then you discover that the drug is there in the society too. Initially, the headache was for people that are into rehabilitation is marijuana is all over the place. Because initially, when you are hooked on marijuana and you come to hospital and they take care of you, rehabilitate you, one of the means is they will tell you your caregiver to relocate you from that environment.
Area. But it's
now
not everywhere.
Marijuana is everywhere.
So where do they relocate them to?
Marijuana is everywhere. And then codeine is everywhere.
Okay. Let me quickly ask you now. In Nigeria, as it is, I know that at least we have rehabilitation centers or homes, maybe like 5. The question I want to ask is: this rehabilitation homes or centers, are they effective?
Well, like let's start with the composition of the rehabilitation home.
Okay.
Right. There are some that are established by governments.
Right. Yeah, private and public.
Yeah. They are established by government and they don't have the right personnel to work with them. They're not there. And then for the privates that can afford to put everybody on board, it's expensive. It's expensive.
So that's a challenge.
That's the challenge. And then our disposition to look everything from the spiritual perspective is another
challenge.
You understand? Because you see people, their kids are hooked on drugs and they come to you, okay, and this is the problem. Attack. And it's okay, you need to take this chair to you. So it's psychiatric, so I said, no, I'll call my pastor, we'll pray about it. And then, then the chain goes on and goes on. And then, at least in Lagos, as an example, nobody here can purport that we don't see children that are on drugs. They're all
everywhere now.
So which means,
it's alarming.
Except we're not being honest with ourselves. We are constantly in contact with the reality of the problem. So we should just wake up and do the desired.
All right, many thanks, Doctor. Let me go to you, madam, now. Our law enforcement agencies, police and what have you, of course, we can see that many a times you see them go and arrest some of these boys on the street, and still they still go into it. Do you really think our law enforcement agencies or effective in their duties?
Really, I don't think so, because most times, when these people are being caught, after a while, maybe their parents will come in to speak with them, build them, and you still, when they build them, what are you doing? You're sending them into the society to influence more people and to get into the drugs more. So they are really not doing what they should do, because if they should do what they should, if they are doing what they should do, when you catch them, a sum of money is being, a very large, huge sum of money is being placed on the parents, because it may be on the parents to pay for that child, and that child is from there sent into a rehabilitation home. Then it will work. And I think also the DNLE, they should do what they should create more rehabilitation. How many people can this rehabilitation home admit? When we have few, it will be able to only admit few people. So we need more. They should do more. Not just what we are having now, they should do more. And they should not just release these boys after they've been caught.
So what's your suggestion on how best the police can actually handle such cases?
Oh, it's sad. I really don't think they can. I don't think they can do anything about it.
Okay.
Because even some of these policemen, they are also involved. They take these drugs. See them in the streets of Lagos. They are also abusing the drugs. You see a policeman smoking. You see a policeman on the road when you go close to, smelling of alcohol. So how will they be able to arrest this? They can't do it. They should start from themselves, just like he said.
You know, like they say, you lead by example.
Yes, please.
So which means that it still boils down to government having to put in place policies that will nip it in the bud. Okay, we talk about entertainment. You know that young people are now tilting towards entertainment. Anything entertainment, the stars there, they are their heroes and what have you. So how can the entertainment industry serve as a tool to change some of these, or to change this, basically?
What they should do, they should stop this. They should stop abusing the drugs on the television. That's one. Another thing they should do, let's sing it. Let's act it. The more we sing it, the more we act it, we will be speaking to the youth. So, but when we come, what we sing, you see nudity everywhere, the smoking, they are singing, and it's everywhere in the public. How are we helping the children? Then I want, my advice to the entertainment industry is that we should spend more time. Our songs, our acting should educate these children on what the drugs are, what drug abuse is, and the side effects to them.
Right. Okay, Doctor, I come to you. What do you make out of that? Entertainment industry serving as a tool to change this?
Well, like you rightly said, the entertainment industry has a lot of followership.
Exactly.
But then entertainment industry has been there from time immemorial, right?
No doubt.
And you chose to become a broadcaster because probably you saw a role model.
Exactly.
You can't tell me at your time there were no people singing.
They were.
There were people singing. So you're still going back to where you started from, unemployment, because people are not engaged. So a lot of them are trooping towards the entertainment industry.
Okay.
Because the question is, how many of them are really successful as performers? Because you see any child and say, okay, I'm singing, I have a song, I'm looking for a label to promote it. But if we have a situation whereby people can nurse dreams, and then dreams can turn into realities, and they have proper role models they are looking up to. You discover that you have that big chunk of the population to in their line. Then for the entertainment industry itself, you have people from time immemorial have been singing about the vices of the society. So they can get back on that. They can go back to that. The musicians, the performance. I think when we were young, we saw Bending Mind. You understand? And that was the first time on television people are portraying the effect of somebody who is hooked on substance. So now everybody involved in the entertainment industry have to ensure that we're creating awareness. Because even forgive the parents if we're all running after money. If the kids are able to see on TV that, okay, once you start abusing drugs, the chances that you finish school is out of it. And if you don't finish school, you might not be able to have a gainful employment. And then the adverse effect of the drug on your health is portrayed, right? And then that you end up as a societal miscreant. The kids might shy away from it. Okay. They don't want to go that way. Right. So now, if we start the sensitization across board, you discover that in the music industry, they have no choice to start singing.
And writing good lyrics.
Lyrics about the ugly side.
That will discourage.
That will discourage it.
Drug
and then because in their own sector, they have a lot of potential. People that were budding that we believe, oh, this one will become a superstar. But the consumption of drug
Honestly.
kill them halfway before they even become a star.
Yeah.
So the examples are there, like I said earlier, they are there. We're just shying away from credencing that they exist. So the industry itself, when the sensitization becomes collective, you're talking about it as somebody who is in the broadcasting industry. I'm talking about it because I'm into rehabilitation. Yeah. She's talking about it in the school. Even the parent that claimed he or she doesn't have time, when she comes home, the TV is on, is bombarded about it. So the parent will be aware and will be putting a high on the word. That thing they showed on the TV shows that, oh, when they are substance, they are withdrawn. So when you claim you don't want to eat at the dining table, they come because the questions will be asked.
All right. Okay, doctor, as an occupational therapist, let me ask you, I would want you to, paint a good picture of the side effects of drug abuse and addiction.
All right. To us, when people go through challenges in life, which sometimes is inevitable, ability to go back to things that are of value to them, things that bring meaning to them, is lost. The ability is lost. So to occupational therapists, our concern is, how does this person get back on track to be able to do these desired activities again? And you discover that for somebody who's been on substance abuse, like I said, he has lost interest in activities that were formerly of interest to him. He has lost interest in that.
He's living in a different world.
Different world. Drug consumption has become the main priority to him. So part of our job is to ensure, fine, he will have a refocus of what life is. And the first step is to make him realize where you are now, where you're supposed to be. Maybe now you are still 23, 24, you're supposed to have left school. But since you left secondary school, you've been jumping from one university to the other, one private university to the other, because the substance you're abusing has caged you behind. So the child is able to see that. And then you are trying to help the child to be able to retrace the steps so that he can catch the train wherever he missed the flight earlier and go back. At least and be able to
be. Train will do something.
Yes, and for the life to have, because you see, like in the Christian world, we say life is a gift. So when you trade with the gift, the occupational therapists make you realize how ugly the beauty of that gift has become. And then you have to be ready. They ensure you are ready. If you are not ready for recovery, you can't go on the journey.
That's true.
So they have to be sure you are ready. And the only way you can be ready is when they make you see the ugliness of all the journey you've been going through. And then you come back and tell us, okay, fine, I think I want to change lane and move ahead. And then all over the world in civilized society, we've seen people that have been on substance and then luckily they've gone into rehabilitation homes and they came out better. But like here, because we don't have anything in place. The law is not there. The people to manage them aren't there in terms of population. Because like, how many rehabilitation therapists do we have? How many psychiatrists do we have? How many psychologists do we have to stem, to curb the excesses of this problem? So those ones are teething problems that are still there.
Right.
And then we as parents too, that we are pretending that the problem is not really there. And then you see, we have a funny way of wishing it away.
By praying.
You see, they say, no, it will not be my portion.
It is well.
It is well. So those are the problems that we have to come to terms with. And when we come to terms with that, the fact that they miss their flight does not mean that they cannot become successful in life again.
That's true.
They can still become successful. They can become successful. And then, in addition to that, in the management, the phase we are in now is they are getting somebody who is already gone through that lane before to be a member of the treatment team. So when it's there, it's telling you, there's no beauty. I've been there. I went through this lane. So that's the next stage.
And you can change too.
Oh man, when you see somebody who is telling you what you are going through, that you are hiding, the consequences, you sit up.
All right, many things, doctor. Now, I'll turn to you as an educationist. We find out that, of course, some way, somehow, parents have gotten it wrong, government has gotten it wrong. Now, in correcting this anomaly, what's your advice to our parents? What should be the role of parents and religious bodies,
yeah.
even teachers, in having to instill the right discipline or culture in youth?
Oh, thank you. Most of our parents are teachers, and some of our education bodies, they actually really are not educated in this area. And so they lack the knowledge. You cannot give what you don't have.
Thank you.
So my advice to parents is that we should get educated. Let's be informed. If we are informed, we'll be able to transform the lives of our children. Let the parents get more information, acquire more information about this drug abuse. Because like he rightly said, if we want to spiritualize everything, it turns back to us. Everything is not, because if you look at it, it didn't happen in the spirit. It's a physical thing. And so something that is physical has to be dealt with physically. So get yourself informed about this. It's everywhere. Get the information, get yourself trained. No, because sometimes you look at these children and say, they are too young. I don't think they will do this. They can't do this. It's those ones that you think they won't do. They have people that are influencing them. Let our parents pay more attention to the children, get themselves educated, know more about this. And they should also be able to pay attention to their children. The teachers too, the same thing. It's not just the government, like we rightly said. Everyone should be involved. The religious body should be involved. When we stand on the pulpit and we're talking about this, it will help the children. But what are the pastors preaching these days? The youth are completely ignored. The youth are completely ignored. And we should focus, the religious bodies should focus on the children. Then the teachers should also focus on the children, educate them, tell them more, get your information, then give them the right information. And if we keep doing this, we'll be able to help the children.
Well, I believe that any problem that you see today, it starts from somewhere.
Yes.
Which means we must deal with this challenge from the root.
From the root, yes.
At what point would you suggest that schools begin to teach children about drug abuse?
Because of the rise of technology. Because of the rise of technology, our children of even 5 have this understanding.
Okay.
They have this understanding. So we should water it down to their own level. Because there's a way you speak to a teenager, there's a way you speak to the youth. If you say at what level? As young as 5.
Okay.
The children should be told. They should understand what is drugs, because they take drugs. These children take cough syrups, they take something, and these things, they should be known that if you take this thing in excess, it has this effect on you. So as young as 5, we should begin to educate the children on what drugs is, what drugs abuse is, and the negative effect of this drug abuse. As young as they are, if you speak to the young mind, then it will be very, very difficult for a young mind to be influenced if the child is already educated on this. So it starts from as young as 5, a child who is already talking, a child who has understanding that when you teach a child and the child is able to tell you back, repeat what you've said, is a child that should be educated. And we have children of 4 who have understanding. You teach them and they understand. Children of 3. So depending on the developmental stage of the child, if you look at the developmental stage of the child and you know that a 3 years old can take it in, please give the 3 years old. If a 4 years old can take it in, give the 4 years old. If the 5, fantastic. There is no age limit. But as a child, a smart child, you give your children 3 years old your phone. They will turn it on. Things you don't even know about the phone.
Yeah, I can testify to that. That's the intelligent quotient of children nowadays is very high.
Yes.
in comparison to what used to be in the past. However, viewers, we're still talking about how to tackle drug abuse in Nigeria. You can make your contribution. The phone lines are open. All right, on that basis, I turn to you, Doctor. What do you think, looking at solutions still, how would you advise religious organizations, what Muslim, Christian, in having to stem or help to stem this menace?
Yeah, like the teacher educationally said, the church has to be honest in its approach to this problem. The problems are there. So we should talk about it more on the podium. And then luckily the church is taking responsibilities now, which is a good development. Now they too should get involved in helping these kids to be rehabilitated, right? So because the home is the foundation of the society, right? And then you discover that the church itself
It's also another
has a
foundation.
loud impact, a great effect. More. So if they talk about it in the churches, let them realize in the youth church, let them bring it down, let them see.
In the mosques too, not
let them
just
see.
church. Because religious bodies cause Muslims and
That's true.
Yes.
Let them say it, that, okay, fine, once you start getting involved at this tender age, there's a tendency that you get derailed and your dreams will not be realized. Bring it stark naked to them. And you'll be shocked. Apart from me deterring them, they'll be a watchdog for the other party. And you know kids, they'll tell you, I will tell mommy, she said we should not take that drug, you are taking it.
Yes.
So from that tender age, if you expose them to that information, they leave the home, they get to the religious bodies, they expose them to that information. Continuous reinforcement of that information will deter them from towing the line. And then within a twinkle of an eye, you discover that the whole society is sensitized about the ugliness of drug consumption. And then it will now become a problem for you to take the drug outside because people are on the lookout for you. So you have to hide to do it, unlike the way they do it without batting an eye now. And then once you know that, okay, fine, it's not something to flaunt now, because when you meet them, when you talk to them, the people that are on the drugs, one of the few things they will tell you how important dignitaries in the society consume the drugs.
Really?
Yeah, they will cite example for you, successful people in the entertainment industry.
The country.
And there's one once told me, I said, when you're on married, Joanna, what do you really go through? I said, I have the ability to stop a moving train.
Really?
That's showing the impact on the cognitive thought processes.
Yeah.
You understand? So all these are the impact that the drug have on them. So this is the right time for us to wake up and talk about it, sensitize the community, the environment as much as possible. This is the right time for government to put the laws in place. This is the right time for government to empower the hospitals so that they'll be able to manage those who are already on that terrain already. Addiction, so they can help them. And like I said earlier, the bill that is being clamored for is one of the way forward so that people can have the right to best practice of treatment.
Okay, let's look at the society. You know, a lot of us just look away from all these problems. We see them as a neighbor. You see your neighbor's child doing what he or she is not supposed to do. As an individual in the society, you're supposed to either call the attention of the mother or the father to what you have seen, or also scold that particular child. So, and I realize maybe because of civilization and all that now in Nigeria, everybody tends to just mind their own business.
Yes.
How do you think the society can actually help in contributing their own quota in reducing this particular problem?
Well, you cannot stem development. That's just the truth, right? Okay. Education empowers people, right? And then for the average home now, the husband works, the wife works. You understand? You cannot stop the girl child from aspiring to become the hero of the best in her chosen field of life. Okay. And then you see, that's even part of the problem at home.
Right.
She's telling you, okay, fine, I have a job to do, I'm needed in the office, and the housemaid is the one that is taking care of the child, right? So that's you cannot stem, because I don't think you can tell your wife not to aspire to be the best you can.
Yes.
You can't do that now. So the girl child, and all over the world, the clamoring is for the girl child to have an advantage of being educated in Africa. So those things are realities that are there that we cannot wish away. But the other hand is this. That doesn't stop us from contributing our own little quota. If we see somebody who is unfortunate to be on substance abuse, abusing any substance, we can, in a polite way, call the person, educate the child. Why are you doing this? In the long term, it's not going to be of benefit to you. These are the teething problems you are likely to encounter down the road, right? That child, consciously and unconsciously, will know that, oh my Lord, Auntie Deola warned me about this. And you can never tell. That might be the break in the continuous chain that child is about to embark upon. So you and I really have to sensitize people about it.
Right. Okay.
That is one of the way forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another one. All right, thank you very much, Doctor. All right, a final one from you, madam.
Okay, as neighbors, we should be our neighbors' keepers.
Right.
We should be able to, our brothers' keepers, he said, that we should be our brothers' keepers. We should be able to, when we see a child doing something he or she shouldn't do, should speak to the child, let the child know what he is doing and the adverse effect of what he's doing. And also, not just to the child, we should advance, go to the parents, let the parents know, this is what I noticed. And so maybe the parents will have a better way of communicating to the child. We shouldn't just ignore any child. The child you're ignoring today might be somebody prominent in future that might, that might do something to your advantage. You understand? So life is like a cycle. It goes round. Mm-hmm. You ignore this today, yours might be ignored tomorrow. Yeah. So we should be our brother's keeper. Exactly. Talk to the children and also extend this love to the parents by letting the parents know so they could also talk to their children too.
All right, on that note, I want to say a very big thank you to you, Dr. Akiwole Adeosho, an occupational therapist. Many thanks for coming. I hope we'll call you again. You will oblige.
I will.
All right, many thanks also to Mrs. Victoria Godwin Eje, an educationist. Many thanks. I hope you also oblige as well. We'll call you. All right, on that note, viewers, you've been watching Super Eye on Super Screen, and we've been talking about drug abuse and addiction. And you've heard from the experts today what they have to say. There is need for all hands to be on deck to nip this in the bud. There can't be a better time, because why? Nigeria is sitting on a time bomb. And if we don't want it to explode on us, we all have to contribute our quota by discouraging whoever is abusing drugs or is an addict somewhere, so that Nigeria can be a better country. On that note, many thanks for watching. Remember to join us for another beautiful edition next week, same time on your darling station. As always, I'm Adenike Oweye Ajiboye, your host always on the program. It's bye for now.